Hi everyone, welcome back. Nadji here. Last couple of videos we discussed about deep agent architecture and we have done a sample program, kind of a hello world program using LangChain Deep Agents. And in this video and coming couple of videos, we will be discussing on some core components of uh, LangChain Deep Agent. Okay, so understanding of this core components is very important. So whenever we discuss about the real project, then this understanding will help us to go very smoothly. So let's start. So first we can start about the models. So as you know, the deep agents is actually is a model agnostic. So that means we can plug different LLM depending on our requirement. For example, lightweight models for the fast response and reasoning models for the complex task. And we also use the different providers. We can use OpenAI, Anthropic, Groq, and the Google, right? So we can see different model initialization in deep agents. So let me execute this load environment. Mm, okay, let me do this. Okay, so let's do this. Okay. So here we can see, the installation is in progress. That is fine. Okay, it's done. Okay. Now we can see in a simple terms, we can import the create react agent from the deep agents. And here in a simple way, I can initialize a model, something like this. I can mention the provider and I can specify the type of the model. So here the provider is OpenAI and the model that we are using the GPT-4 mini. And let's execute this. Okay, so this is the simplest way of initialization. Okay, now consider in a scenario where we need to handle the model configurations. Like for example, I need to control the reasoning level, temperature, timeout, or retrace, etc. Then in that case, what we can do, we can make use of the init chat model property or the method. Okay, so here this is we import from the LangChain.chat model. This we commonly using this init chat model, right? So here I can specifically say about the model and I can say that okay, thinking level is equal to medium here. So in that way I can control each and every parameter of this model. So let's execute it. This also will work without any problem. Okay, so the next scenario is that okay, imagine a situation like we don't want to repeatedly pass the same configuration everywhere. Okay, for example, I'm saying that okay, whenever I'm using a provider is a OpenAI, then its temperature is always 0. Okay, it's kind of a global settings I want to do. Okay, in that scenario, we can use the provider profile and the register provider profile from deep agents. Okay, so here what this means is that here I'm registering the provider profile saying that okay, if my provider is OpenAI, then its temperature should be 0. Okay, so this is what I mean by this. So if I am using any different provider, then so let me execute this. Then it may be its own default temperature. Okay, it's not 0. Okay, this is only for the OpenAI provider. Okay. Now I can simply execute something like this. So in this scenario, this OpenAI GPT-4o mini, its temperature is 0. Now I'm thinking that okay, for GPT 5.4, I want to specifically set some configuration, like I want to make it like a reasoning effort as a medium. So in that case, what I can do, I can specifically say that the provider and the model, and I can set it like a reasoning effort as medium. Okay, so in that scenario, if I use any other model other than GPT 5.4, its reasoning effort should not be medium. So this is only applicable to GPT 5.4. So here for this GPT 5.4, the temperature is 0 and the reasoning effort is medium. Okay, so let's execute it. Okay, so this is a second method that we can use. Okay, now in another situation, okay, this is the last one situation. Consider that we have to dynamically switch the model. Okay, consider that I have a UI is there, and based on each and every use cases, I want to switch the model from the drop down. So in that case, building the deep agents is every time is really costly, and that is not a practical way of doing that, right? So in that case, we can use a middleware that is called the wrap model. We can use this configuration like a wrap model call, and this can be used as a middleware. Okay, so here we can see a configurable model middleware is there, and here what we are doing, we are actually checking. Okay, we are actually checking the model from the context. Okay, so this will be get understand if I scroll it down, but for the time being, just understand that in a request, in a context, I am getting the model name, and based on this model name, I am initializing the model. Then here I am updating the entire model. Okay, so based on this, I'm going to create a deep agent. Here we can see a OpenAI mini is my model, and middleware is the configurable middleware, and I'm passing the context. So here context means only the model. Okay, now let's execute it. So let's execute it. So you may be thinking that, okay, what is this context, from where we are getting the context, all those things. So that I can answer by executing this cell. Okay, so here I am invoking this model, and I am dynamically passing the context here, model context here. Here I'm saying that, okay, the model for this context will be GPT 5.4. So let me execute it. So the execution is in progress. So let me do a result here. So if you scroll down little bit, scroll down here little bit. Here we can see the model provider is OpenAI, but the model name is GPT 5.4 because we have given the GPT 5.4 here. So it is dynamically changing. Okay. Now we can go back again to the same code by understanding this particular the code segment. We can go and see this, right? So here I am passing the context with the model name, and using this middleware configurable model, I will get the model information from the runtime context. I am initializing the model, then I am updating the configuration back. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so in this way, these are the like three different ways that we can initialize the model, and the last one is very important when if you want to change the model dynamically. Okay, so that is all about in this video. If you have any questions, please ask in the comment box. I will try to answer that. So that's it. Please do like and subscribe. Have a nice day. Bye bye.